Hello, this is Jay Levine, and you're listening to J Radio. Here with me today is Tony Nikolovsky. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I can get used to this whole Freudian leather couch and all this. It's so comfortable, man.
Well, good thing you're feeling comfortable now because you're not going to. You're going to be placed in a hot seat in just a hot second because we have mail from fans who have read your book. I don't know if they're really fans, but they're very curious to know some more details about your book, and some of them might be some harsh ones. So are you prepared for that?
More than prepared, and I hope to clarify every question that anybody has, and keep them coming.
Good, good. It's good to be clear on things. All right, so the first one comes from Sarah from Newark, New Jersey. Can you believe that? From New York.
Shout out to Sarah from Newark, New Jersey.
Newark.
So what you got?
Woo, woo, woo. All right, so she's a sociologist, she's a professor, and she states the term social hierarchy sounds a bit elitist. Ooh, that sounds like a daunting word there. So what do you say about that?
Well, first I would like to say thank you for reading my book, and hopefully you've learned something along the way as well. What I would like to kind of clarify, because a lot of people ask this question, and it's like I'm not talking at all about racism. That's a misnomer, if you will, or anything like that. It's not going to be like any Hitleristic type social hierarchy. I'm shooting up people that it's not the case. Well, it's rather.
At least I hope it's not the case.
No, it's about the human intelligence that I'm talking about, and I base it off of their competency. You see, whether we like it or not, we have a social hierarchy, okay? And I'm just proposing that we kind of adjust this social hierarchy to be just, So I want to structure it in a way that people that are competent sit at the top, and those that pretend that they're idiots or incompetent should not be at the top. I think it's quite a logical feat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So as a sociologist myself, a lot of sociologists advocate for equality, and in which I'm sure you are.
Yeah.
In a way, you're essentially arguing for meritocracy.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, meritocracy is exactly what I'm advocating for those viewers or listeners that don't know.
Sorry, that was just an email from another fan, but we'll get to that a bit later.
There's so much fan mail. I'm overwhelmed sometimes, For those of you guys that don't understand what the term meritocracy is, it's essentially a group of ruling or influential class that are educated or skilled people. And I believe that those that are more skilled should be higher rewarded and be at the top of the social hierarchy. I'm not saying that they need to be ruling everybody, but they should definitely get the most of the rewards. Those that are acting incompetent should not be rewarded.
I mean, yeah, it's a very logical. Now, for our next fan, or should I say, how should I say it? It's an fanemy. It's a fenemy. All right, so now your seat is gonna get a little bit hotter because it's a little bit spicy. Come on now. All right, so this is Ross from Santa Barbara, USA, California.
Santa Barbara.
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 Yes, doesn't that mean red beard or something?
Vamos, cabrón, man.
All right, so are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Estoy listo.
Who are we to fucking judge if professors are incompetent if they are already fucking at the top of the social hierarchy? Yo, this is giving me bananas. All right, okay. They found a way to position themselves there. It means that they are fucking smart and fucking competent. This is a very foul-mouthed individual. All right. What about me, who has finished so much schooling, has a lot of diplomas, but doesn't have any functional competency? I only have theoretical competency. Well, that's boo-hoo. I can't really say anything about that, but what do you say about that?
First of all, is this individual trying to bash himself because he's saying that he doesn't have any functional capacity?
I don't know. I have no comment about that.
Well, okay. So first of all, how do we conceptualize intelligence? Is it social intelligence? I mean, is it emotional intelligence? What is it? Yes, professors have achieved a high status occupation. They're professors. We get that. However, I argue that is that some are not competent in the job. Why would we have incompetent professors earning over $178,000 a year? That's just foul to me. And for example, one of my favorite professors in university in general, I'm not gonna say his name because I don't know if he knows that if he wants me to say his name. But I searched his thesis online, and it literally said he's not bullshitting, no cap. He says that he went into PhD studies because he couldn't find a job in the real world. I mean, I admire his his honesty, but it's really the case. Like most of our professors were likewise incompetent to find a job in the real world. That's why they hid back into academia and decided to pursue a career in there. That means that they were incompetent likewise, just as us undergraduates. And I am fighting for justice for those undergraduates that worked hard to get high distinction, to finish the best school, and that they're unemployed. They can put their thumb up their bum, they're not getting paid. Why? But meanwhile, professors are getting paid, and some of them are doing it incompetently.
Well said. Ross, if you're listening out there, perhaps getting to academia is the best bet since you cannot get into any job with all those diplomas. That's just my opinion. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. All right, the next person is by Andrea. Am I saying that right? Andrea.
Andrea, where are you from?
Andrea from Naples, Italy. Naples. I don't know how I pronounce it.
Napoli, che fai?
You've been to Florence. You know how.
Sì, arrivederci.
So, they say, high achievers generally prioritize on tasks. So, writing a reference letter. So, remember, you talked about having a reference letter and that fiasco and all that. A reference letter was perhaps not the most important task on their list of priorities.
All right. Well, first of all, grazie, Andrea, okay, for the question. But if, okay, so let me just get this straight here. If these so-called professionals are unable to perform the complete package of what their job requires them to do, then they aren't suited for the job, are they? If, let's say, a professor receives over $150,000 annually, I believe that they should work hard to earn that amount of money. Otherwise, it would be unjust. Put simply, that paycheck should be justifiable. If a professor can't juggle all those responsibilities at once, then they're not suited for that sort of position or profession, as I say. So, I mean, Andrea, in terms of prioritizing tasks, we as students, or at least me that graduated already, were expected to prioritize in our schoolwork and also other extracurriculars to succeed in our education. So I believe that professors are also expected to be punctual, submit things with quality, etc., because otherwise they would be hypocrites. They demand something from us, but they do something completely different. Unfortunately, not all professors are fulfilling these duties, and I argue that those that can't take the heat as a professional or as a professor should not be a professor.
Wow, I couldn't say it any better than myself. Alright, so this one comes from Pascal, Montreal, Canada.
Oui.
Yes. Did you graduate from McGill? So, they state, how do you know what is stated in their job descriptions? I'm not sure if it is written in their job description that professors need to write up a reference letter to their colleagues. I like how they mentioned that reference letter bit.
Yeah, I mean, the reference thing comes a lot, like, because they think that I was, like, I don't know, egocentric or whatnot. But here's the thing. Their job description may not explicitly state write reference letters to colleagues, right? It might not say that, after all. But these requests from students come with the territory. I mean, if you're a professor, you should be prepared as well as expected to have people like encounters with these students in these type of circumstances. For example, if you play soccer and your job description is kick the ball, score a goal, right? It may not say in your description, oh, you might also get injured on the job. Not every little detail will be on your description, but it's implied that with that comes this. So as a professor, yeah, it may not say as a professor you need to write references, but that comes across so often, every so often. So you need to be prepared and competent to write that. And like I said before, if you can't take the heat, you shouldn't be there. Because there's some professors that can juggle things. And they should be professors, and I applaud them. Those that cannot should not pretend like they can. Get the fuck out of here.
I guess you're quite hot now, aren't you?
It's like Miami Heat, baby.
But I guess you could take the heat.
I can. I give it back.
Alright, so this one's by Claire from Adelaide, Australia.
Get on, mate. How far are you from here, mate?
Put another shrimp on the barbie.
Go on, mate.
So she says, in your book, it sounds like you are claiming that all professionals are incompetent beings. However, this is not an empirical statement. Oh, she sounds very scientific there.
Scientific yet not at the very same time. I mean, first of all, Claire, you come from a place that I really like, but did you read my book? Because that's not what I said. I didn't say that whatsoever. I'm giving you heat right here. So, I did not say that all professionals are incompetent beings. That's number one. Number two, professionals vary from skill and respect level, and this is exactly where I draw my proxy from. Okay, all professionals, in my view, will be considered equal based on the best professor that I had. This doesn't have to be professor. Let me just say it could be any professional. It could be the best lawyer in town. So I judge based on the best in the profession, and anybody below them are less competent or just some that are incompetent. I give respect where credit is due. I give respect where respect is due, and I give credit where credit is due. And I actually wrote my professor, my favorite professor, an email saying, "Hey, man, you're doing really good in your job. You cater well to your students, and you teach very well." And I gave him that email just out of courtesy. This was after I graduated. I wasn't a sycophant in any case. For those that don't perform well, I give it straight to them, and this is why I say those that are incompetent should not be in these professions. Why are you called professional if you're not professional?
Yeah, I very much so agree with that. If you claim that you are the professor or professional you are, be it. Alright, I think that's all for today. There's another one. Huh?
Fucking podcast from the previous day.
Oh. Yeah.